Hello my fellow stickies, and today is our Dead Island Riptide game review, and let's go ahead and get started with this. As you can see on the screen, I have a mace, which I had in the first look video. This time I got nails in it. There's the health kit that I used, and smash him on the ground, crunch his skull with my special ability that I got, get a little achievement, loot his body. You see my energy bar, my health bar, my med kits, my current weapon I have equipped, my map, the object wheel that I can equip weapons to, and use my fisticuffs. That's pretty much this whole video. If you're watching, the interface on it is just so sweet. It's so simple. It's hard to get much more clean than this. The interface system isn't dirty at all. You can exit out of it super quick. Like as you saw, that random chick started running up to me, and then I just switched out, got to my mace, hit her back, threw a Molotov, and it was super quick and fluent. I'll switch to a kitchen knife, throw it. Zombie comes up behind me. The revolution system allows you to just turn around and jump back and look at different angles so easily. Guy charges me, I kick him back so it, Newton's laws him. Crunch his skull in once more with my special ability that I got through my talent tree. Pick up a knife that I have, use it, throw it at another guy, and boom, there he goes. Assassined. That's just how it rolls in Dead Island. The game's combat system is so fluid and simple. Sometimes you get overrun with zombies, but it's a zombie game. I mean, that's expected. If you didn't expect to get overrun with zombies, that's all your fault. So now onto the more clerical part of the review. It's pretty much the same experience as Dead Island if you guys haven't played that game. Dead Island Riptide is quite a bit better in a couple things. As in, like, the story is a little bit more fluid, and you encounter a lot more side quests that actually do something in the game rather than they just, here you go, here's a Molotov, thanks for running halfway across the island, now you can get my car keys. Like, that's pretty much how the first game had it. But in the second game, they're like, okay, if you go out and you get me 5 car batteries and 2 electric wires, I'll hook you up a car, and I'll go ahead and give you a container of gas with it. And so, that gives you your own car. And there's lock boxes all around, like you just saw previously, that, if you don't have high enough lock picking, you don't get inside. But if you can open them, they usually yield sweet rewards, like a crap ton of cash, or, tons of weapons. This next part coming up here, I find a whole bunch of zombies on the stairs to my right, and I track them all, but I kill them all, slowly but surely. And if a zombie gets close enough to you, they kind of grapple with you, and when they grapple with you, if you threw a weapon into them, you can click X and pull out the weapon that you threw at them, and that allows you a chance to switch back to them and throw them again. There's all kinds of weapons, and if you don't target onto zombies, your thrown weapon will not hit them. I've tried, and even if it does fly in another zombie's direction, it'll do damage, but it won't do any exact damage, because it's thrown in a different direction with not a lot of force. But it's pretty cool because the thrown weapons in this game are actually way different. They don't have any force at all. So, like, for example, maces and stuff will have a force that if you hit a zombie, they'll fly way back, right? And if it's a bladed weapon, they'll fly somewhat back because they use a real graphics system and real weight system, kind of like in Madden 13. And there's weapons lying around anywhere, but anyway, thrown weapons, if you were to actually throw a knife at somebody in real life, it would hit them and they might take a step back, but they won't take 3 steps back or fall on the ground and bust their butt, or their zombie bony butt, as it were. But the thrown weapons are different. You can get different types of flare guns. Like, I eventually found a flare rifle, which was cool because it would shoot a flare 1,000 miles per hour and just destroy zombies. There's fire damage, electric damage in this game, and I think there's even hot water damage. I remember I kicked a exploding can into the water and it exploded, and the damage was actually purple. So I think that's hot water. Maybe it's acid damage, technically. Either way, there's even a flare shotgun which shoots, it's a double barrel sawed-off flare shotgun, and you can shoot off 2 of the flares at the same time, and it's actually pretty neat. Another thing is that you really do have to scrounge around for money and parts, to craft weapons and build up weapons, and upgrading them takes a heck a lot of damage. But once you've upgraded a weapon and given it, like nails, for example, or you give it like a steel reinforcement around the blade or the hilt of the weapon, they will just destroy zombies. And you have to repair all your items quite a bit, or else they're busted and they look like like something that came off an exploding car. But otherwise, I found some pretty sweet weapons. Like I found a double-bladed katana that was like really long. I guess it kind of looked like a Left 4 Dead weapon, like something that they would pull out on one of their creator mods or something. And it was kind of low on imagination. The game, Zombie Island, you're stuck on an island with tons of zombies trying to figure out, how to get home or how to get away from the zombies. And that's not relatively new, but the kind of the twist they had on the idea was, the immune survivors that have to really do all the work, and the non-immune survivors who get to stay home and whine all they want. And so it kind of creates like a political system where the people who aren't immune make more instructions and rules and missions and what you need to get, but the people who are immune do have the power. So it is really a democracy type of game. Like if you, for example, if somebody says go get this for me and you say no, they don't have any choice in it. They're not going to kill you because you're the only person that can get that stuff, period. So there's 5 actual survivors, and it's Logan, Sam B, who's a black guy that specializes in blunt weapons. Logan specializes in thrown weapons. A African American lady, and I don't know her name. It's like Samumba or Pomumba or something like that. But she's a specialist with weapons. That includes flare guns and nail guns and all kinds of alternative weapons. And then there's I think it's it's like Xian. I'm not really sure how to say that, so I'm not even gonna try. But she's a Chinese lady who specializes with blades. And then there's another guy who I haven't seen on the island, because I don't think he made it off the ship unless you actually played as him. But he specializes in like fisted weapons, so like Freddy Krueger claws or brass knuckles. And it kind of annoys me that you can't actually throw brass knuckles. And I know that doesn't seem annoying to people, but you can put like blades on brass knuckles, so you can make them like bladed brass knuckles. And I think that you should, actually be able to throw the brass knuckles if they have blades on them, because if somebody threw a chunk of iron with sword blades in it, you'd be like, what the heck is going on here? I'm using the flare gun in the game right now if you watch, and the initial damage actually isn't that great, but the burning damage is quite a bit. There wasn't burning damage in the first game. Well, there might have been if you threw like a gas container, but Molotovs, for example, they didn't deal constant fire damage, they dealt like an explosion of fire damage. But they do dots, damage on time, so like every 1/4 of a second, it'll deal its standard damage. And you can also throw pretty much all the weapons, which is really nice for a character that can throw things, because you'll have one main damage just in case the game comes close to home, and then the rest of the game, that you kill far away with, you're pretty much either shooting a gun with all the bullets you have in it, though you can just keep them away from you, or you're throwing weapons. The monster that I'm fighting right now is called a thug, and they're like for example, like a 7'5" kind of guy. And if they hit you, you're knocked down. And if you don't have the get back up perk that makes it quicker to get back up, you're pretty much doomed, because they'll just stomp you in. That's a suicider, and they explode, and they do crazy amounts of damage. They have like this infested little pocket that's on them, and that's pretty dangerous if you don't figure that out quick. If you don't kill them from afar, if they get up close, it's game over, man. And as you can see, that I'm kind of running out of weapons, and that's kind of one of the problems of the game, is that you run out of weapons quite quickly. And when you do, when you run out of weapons to throw and ammo to use, you have to bring it really close on melee. And there's stun bombs and Molotovs, which just completely level everybody, like you just saw. They'll just sit there for a while, and they won't get back up, because it's actually a stun bomb. I try to bring it close to the thug guy, but as you see, he hits me for a little bit over 1/3 of my health, and it's just, that was rough. I had one thing left after I threw my awesome skull mace, but that's my kind of priority number one weapon. My weapon that if they come close, that's the weapon I'm going to use. Because I upgraded it all the way. It's a green, and I have the nailed mod in it. Mods are different. Like, if, for example, if you get the recipe how to do nailed mods, you'll get like a big box of nails or a box of large nails, and then you put it in the weapon, and it increases the damage and the bleeding that it has on it, and, the vulnerability, or the durability, there we go, changes quite a bit. The characters are pretty unoriginal. John Morgan is the guy who had the claw thing. I forgot his name. But floaters are pretty neat. They're a new type of zombie. They sink in the water and they pretend like they're not actually alive, and then boom, there they come, and you're like, oh crap, and they're all the same, really. All the zombies, it's just a whole bunch of slashing, battering, and flaming and shooting until, the undead don't get back up. And the presentation, it feels like they kind of missed some stuff. It feels like they could have had more caves and jungle paths, but they don't serve anything in the the big part of the game. For example, that guy to the bottom right, he could have been a floater. I don't think he was, but I did never look back. But for example, where I go up in here, it's kind of like a mini dungeon, just in case you guys don't know what dungeons are. It's like a little mini part of the game that you go in, contains some sweet loot, maybe some storyline arcs, and you just have to kill all the zombies that are inside of it. And there's quite a bit of zombies throughout the game. There's probably millions. Like, if you did every single quest and came back to town after you completed it, you'd probably kill like 1 million zombies by the end of the game. It really is just like a zombie whack-a-mole. That's what the company that made it, they said that they wanted it to be a zombie whack-a-mole type game where you're killing zombies to survive. I mean, that's what the Gadget website said as well. And it didn't get necessarily good ratings. Usually like a 3.5 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. So that's not a 4 or a 5 out of 5. But I grade on a scale of 10, but I think that this game did pretty good, and I'll reveal my score in a little bit. But like, for example, if you kick a zombie down and then it gives you the LB option, if you pick the right perk, you can smash in their head, and that does a crazy amount of damage that not a lot of guys can withstand. But if you're smart about it, you eventually learn how to fight the zombies and when to stomp their head in, because if you're stomping their head in, and for example, like this big guy, this thug right here, looks at you and is like, uh-oh, and he hits you once, it won't stomp their head at all. You'll miss their head, and you'll hit your own ankle, and then you'll be crippled, and you'll be walking slowly. But anyway, that's for another time. I hope you guys get this game. I'm giving this game 8.5 zombie head smashes out of 10. And this is Sticky White Boy. Like for a cookie, like for a cake. Or like for a cookie, like for a cake. Like for a cookie, subscribe for a cake.